Good morning, good morning, good morning. This is really different. Let me check my audio levels. They look good, but you never know. Okay, that should be cool. Today I'm going to do something different. 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm dropping some new training and it's going to be different. It's going to be very, very different from anything I've ever done before. And I'm going to start this off telling you some stuff that I normally don't talk about. That's the difference. Because this weekend, I was sitting back and I was thinking of how did I get started with this hustle thing? How did I jump into this? So I went way, way back to when I was at Fort McPherson. That's where it really, really started. Fort McPherson, Atlanta, Georgia. I was in during Desert Storm, and I was always looking for ways to make money. And I was never one to shy away from hard work or to, do what was required to make money, right? I mean, I've always been working even since I was a kid, but it was never enough money. I don't care what I did. It was always sucked up into something. And later on, I discovered why those things were happening, but it was beyond my control. I was a kid, right? So I left home, joined the military. Then I had ended up having more responsibilities supporting my mother and two siblings because she was legally blind for 3 years. So I'm pushing, pushing, pushing because I'm like sitting home damn near my whole check, right? And I would go to the store and I would read these magazines, entrepreneur, success. All of them are ganks, right? Most of them are ganks. There will be this guy with this nice ad, right? And you can send me $39.99 and you will start making a lot of money. And I sent my money and I got the little booklet back and it didn't make any sense and I didn't make any money. And I think that's where a lot of you are. You're in that same spot that you want to make some money. You don't know where to begin. Nobody's really telling you the truth. And it's frustrating, right? So the different approach is the things that I wish that somebody had like sat me down and said, okay, here's the deal. Here, this is the truth. This is how it's going to happen. First of all, it's not going to happen as quick as you want. That's me being real with you. That's just the reality of the situation. I'm not going to sit here and tell you fairy tales. Number one. Number two, which is very, very critical, is there's so many business models that you can participate in. No one ever told me that. I grew up in Alabama, and for someone of my size, I was always a big guy. Go work in the steel mill. Go work in the coal mine. That's what a good, respectable man does. And goes to church on Sunday, right? I didn't want to do any of that stuff. I really didn't. And I kept searching and searching. So part of the issue is there's success waiting on you, but you don't even know about all the business models that are available. And this is one of the reasons that I get to be so cranky. Call me the cranky YouTuber because people are just kind of locked in on a few things. And I'm not going to mention the names because that's not what we're talking about today. But they're just locked in on this stuff. And there's so many options available. There's so many things that you can do. There's so many things available to you. And then I suggest stuff to people. And because it's new and fresh, people are not really respecting it, right? They're not respecting the hustle. They're not really because it's not proven. So that, that there's this thing of I don't want to do anything because if I do it, I'm wasting time. You're wasting time right now by not getting started. And I'm telling you that. I'm going to keep saying that because the reality is getting started is the thing that helped me. Because once I got started, I began to see the truth. I begin to understand what was really going down. And that's what we're going to discuss in module 1. Like the new training, it's not going to be like it has been in the past, because typically I, as the proctor, right? I'm your proctor. I'm your educator. I got to understand where you are, and it was a journey going from that wide-eyed kid that was buying every scam from the back of those magazines. I mean, I don't know how much money I spent on that stuff. I couldn't even tell you. It was all you click the back of the go to the back of the magazine. You send them a certified check or a postal money order, right? And you would get this thing in the mail that you could do nothing with. They were talking about concepts. They were talking about productivity. There was some stuff that was good, but I wasn't prepared for it. And I think that's where a lot of you guys are. You just not prepared for certain things, and you're seeing all of this hustler porn of somebody who was just like you, living on welfare, had a medical injury, was sick. There was some other stuff that was going on, and miraculously within 60 days, 90 days, or a year, they made $1 million. That's hustler porn. Does it happen? Yeah, it happens. It's possible. Is it likely? Mm-mm. And some people will say, well, I'm dampening your enthusiasm. I'm killing your hope. No, I don't think I'm killing your hope. I think I'm telling you the truth. Because just like I had to learn the truth that a lot of these scams and things just weren't going to work out. I mean, maybe you have to spend a few thousand like I did. And understand, when I was spending this money, I was an E4 making what? Once I got the BAQ, it went up. I was thinking I was making $800-900 a month. And then BAQ took me like to 14 something. And I'll spend $100 on something. I spend $30 on something. That was serious money back then, right? And you might have to go to that. But if you are not trying to go through that, if you're trying to drastically step your game up, if you're trying to do something, then how to turn your side gig into a full-time income is going to be for you. Because the first module, and I'm going to tell you about it, we're going to talk about business models, and we'll talk about all the business models and the pluses and stuff and things like this. And with the modules, it's a big block of training, and then you have a week or so to start implementing. It could take longer because depending upon you, your time and everything. And I'm just going to expose you to business models. There's so many things you can do, and everyone's trying to jump through this slim channel because a lot of things have changed. I'm not going to get too heavy into it, but I put out several no eBay, no Amazon videos and virtually predicted all of the stuff that is happening right now with that platform years in advance. And there's more to come. And essentially, this is the reason we're all going through this. Jobs as we know it don't exist anymore. They just don't. This job you get, you can work your way up. You don't have to leave a job to go to college and come back. You work hard. You get the company results. You make money. And you can literally go from the mailroom to vice president, president, CEO. Those kind of jobs, they don't exist anymore. That's gone. And those jobs also used to have pensions, which means that you gave a significant portion of your life, and they gave you money forever. And after you died, your wife, if she survived you, she got your pension. Those things are gone. They're not coming back. And people are just so stuck on it. And it's just not. So what you have to do is create your own job. You got to do that. And that's the whole thing. So in module 1, I'm going to expose you to many different business models, give you the pros and the cons. And we're just going to talk about that because so many of you are afraid to get started because you don't want to waste any money. You don't want to waste any time. I totally understand that. But at no point is this going to get easier because, as I just referenced, jobs as we know it are gone. There's so many people who are going to continue to flood these opportunities. So the longer you wait, the longer you take it to get really serious about it, the more competition you're going to have. And I'm going to give you a good example of how that happened to me. YouTube. When I started YouTube in 2009, I didn't know what the hell I was doing. And there was no competition. YouTube was 3 years old, I think, at the time. There was virtually no competition for what I was doing. I left so much money on the table, but once again, I got in, I got started, I stayed with it, and it worked out really well because there's a lot of stuff out there that people are just not doing because it's not sexy. It's not something you can go into a Facebook group and brag about, and folks are kind of missing out. So we're going to talk about those things. We're going to talk about a lot of that. Now, this is how you get in. Just go below the video, read that description because that's kind of an overview of what we're going to talk about, and you have two ways to get in. You can do $150, and that's going to get you the online platform. You will not have access to the group. Or you can do $300 for the year for access to Culturally Hustler, which is going to give you 100 days of success. It's going to give you how to turn your side gig into a full-time check and access to the group. So all of that's below the video. And those are only two ways you can get in. I mean, you can get, well, like I said, you can get the course for $150 and boom, be done. Or you can, like I said, $300 for the year for Culturally Hustler and get way more for your money, a lot more bang, because the training is going to be really, really different. And just take note of what I have been doing. If you've been around that long for the last 2 months, I've been working my ass off rebuilding this channel. And part of that is I know what's coming. Every business, every person with a hope and a dream, they're going to crash Facebook. They're going to crash YouTube. They're going to crash Instagram. They're going to crash Twitter. Whatever they can get put on, they're coming. And they're going to be there in droves. So think of this as a war. And think of your content as ammunition, right? The more content you have out there, the more bullets you have, right? More content, more bullets. If you got more bullets than your competition, after they stop firing and you keep, who's going to win? Who's going to win? And that's the thing. Like, I don't tell you guys to do stuff that I haven't done or I'm not doing, because I'm sticking with the business model I have, but I know what's coming. I know how the landscape's changing. I know that the environment is so different today, and it's going to get more competitive. Just going to get more competitive. So for those of you who want to jump in, be sure to get in before 11:59 tonight. Now, I'm going to leave this video up because there's a reason that I've created a certain way and that I've formatted a certain way, because it's going to stay up. Because these are going to be mainstay groups, because based upon my information, my stats, this is where a lot of people are. Don't know what to do, don't know where to start, don't know what to trust. And this is going to give you a format on how you can look at some business models, make some better decisions, and begin to turn your side hustle, or actually create a side hustle to turn into a full-time check. Because this is my viewpoint on starting a business. I think you should start every business, if it's possible, to do part-time. I mean, certain business models, you can't do part-time. You just can't. But if it's possible, start it part-time, learn all you can, and then scale it organically. And we'll talk about all of that stuff. Yes, the link is at the bottom of the description. And I'm going to change that when I get off the stream, that, answer is below. And I'll just put the link here. The links, everything that you need is at the bottom of the description. And I'll be back again today, because once again, I'm doing new stuff. I'm doing totally different stuff, because I'm probably going to do, this is the first stream on this. And then I'm going to do probably 2, maybe 4 more today, just talking about the modules and the things that we're going to do and this other stuff. And I'm going to answer a few questions briefly, because I'm trying to keep this on the 20 minute. Actually, I'm not. I'll just probably answer comments later on. Because let's see. Because I wanted to keep this under 20 minutes. because like I said, I'm leaving this up. Other people are going to be there. So for people who want, and let's be clear, how to turn your side gig into a full-time check, $150. Get in, and you get the platform, which is you'll sign into Hustlers Kung Fu Dojo. You'll buy the course, and then 8 p.m. tonight, you'll get your first module. And if you are a member of Culturally Hustler, that's a group, you get 100 days of success. You get this and more for either $49.99 a month or $300 for the year. So there's a lot of ways for you to get in. So with that, I'm bumping up against my limit. I want to say thanks to everybody that came out this morning, and there's a lot more to come today. So with that, I bid you folks a good day, and y'all make it happen. Once again, links for everything is at the bottom of the description.